Welcome back, I'm Ryan from Blue Gaming, and today I'm finally taking a look at PlayerUnkown's Battlegrounds. Now, I've been meaning to do a review on this for almost 2 months now, and I just, when I started out, I was going to make a review, and then I heard about an update coming soon, so I waited for that update, then I heard about the next one, and so on and so forth, until now, finally, I am just going to finally make the review for the early access. Now, I will make an updated review when the game finally comes out, but I am just reviewing it at the state that it is in right now, and then at the end, I'll talk about the stuff that they're going to add somewhat soon, or they plan to add. I'm currently playing the version right before the June server update, so if you watch this in the future, then some things might have changed as it is early access. So let's get right into this, starting out with graphics. Now, graphics is a bit of a weird one because what you are currently seeing right now is the YouTube compressed version of this game on very low graphics. My machine can run higher graphics, but running higher graphics puts you at a disadvantage to other players because if you turn up things like shadows and foliage and other graphical settings, then it will make it harder to spot other players. So a lot of the player base is turning the graphics down really low, which I would hope that they eventually put something in there that kind of counteracts that. But as of now, pretty much everybody's going to be playing in very low graphic settings, which is what you're going to be seeing through the entirety of this video. Moving on to sound. Now, there's not really much to talk about here. All the guns sound pretty decent. The best thing that I can say about the sounds is they get the ambient echo of just gunshots and people moving around pretty spot on. This is something that you don't really see in very many other games. Even open world games, you don't hear the ambient echo of a gunshot going off or of people walking in a city with nobody else around. This game captures that sound perfectly, and I gotta say it's some of the best that I've ever heard. The only real big downside to the sound is that sometimes the echo will get a little glitched, and it will end up with you getting an inverted soundscape. Now, what that means is that if you have an inverted soundscape, when you hear something to the right, it's actually to the left, and then sometimes it will have front and backwards be normal, and sometimes if you hear something behind you, it will actually be in front of you. And that's a glitch that happens when you just hear a lot of gunshots. That's the only thing that I know so far that triggers it. I know that it can happen occasionally just on its own, but that is a glitch that can happen with the sound, and that's pretty much the only downside to the sound. Moving on to the next thing, music. There is one single piece of music in this, and it plays in the menus. And sadly, it is super repetitive, and I have turned the music all the way down in the game because I do not want to hear that same track play over and over and over again in the menus. The reason that there is no music in the actual game is because you have to be able to hear the location of gunshots and the location of people moving near you, so they don't have any music in the actual game, which is to the benefit of the game, because if there was music playing, then you wouldn't be able to hear people moving around. And now moving on to story, and this one is something that will change. There's currently no story mode, but there is plans for a story mode. Essentially what you do in the average game is you drop out of a plane. At some point you get to choose. You drop down, parachute down to buildings, find weapons, ammo, healing supplies, armor, backpacks, all that stuff to supply yourself. Then you have to keep yourself inside of a safe zone circle and pretty much kill everybody else that you come across and end up being the last person alive, or the last group alive, or the last squad alive. Of the different game modes that they have now, it is currently just solo, where you go and do all that by yourself. Duo, where you go with you and a partner to do all the scavenging and surviving and such. And then squad, where you can have 1, 2, 3, or 4 people in a squad, and then you go through all that. They're planning to add in a story mode, and the one of the new updates coming out within a month or two is supposed to add in a zombies mode, where people control zombies and try to go after survivors. But currently there's just those 3 modes, and the other ones are all just in the works. Moving on to gameplay, I already talked a bit about what you do. You're seeing it in the background. It's mostly going to be walking around and looking for things, and you really only get into a few firefights in a whole game. And the average length of a game, I've never had a game go longer than 40 minutes. You can die within 30 seconds of hitting the ground, or you could survive up until the final 10, or even survive to be the final person alive, and that will take you about 35 or so minutes is the normal length of a game to get within the top 5. And if you've played pretty much any other Battle Royale game, you will know how this works and how the general match will go. Now moving on to fun factor, and this one is kind of weird because looking at this game, you've seen me mostly probably just walk around the place and run around the place and try to just barely get inside the circle and pretty much see no one the entire time. And you might be telling yourself, hey, this looks super boring, why would I want to play this? And really, the best part of this game is the tension that this game creates. Just going around the place, if you're walking up to a group of buildings, there's tension being built because you don't know if someone's looking out of those windows about to shoot you, or if you're going across a street, you might be concerned that someone is going to be able to see you and shoot you again. Going into a house that you think might be looted, just going through the forest, and as the zone closes in, you know, hey, there is like 20, 40 people in this zone that is getting smaller, and eventually I'm going to run into somebody, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to beat them. Just the tension is what brings this game to being something better than it looks like it is. And I can't really put that into any better words. It's just a feeling that you have to get by playing it yourself. You can't really just see someone and see some gameplay, and it doesn't bring the same emotional kind of feel as it does when you actually play it. And it's really, there's no other game that I know that can bring this much tension into it by just the natural undefined player interactions. And that makes this game something really, really great. So let's go on to my final thoughts and my final verdict on the game. So, as I've been talking about it, this game is actually something that I would definitely recommend picking up, but if you have friends. I currently have almost 200 hours in this game, and I could say without a doubt, I would put this game down after about 25, 30 hours if it wasn't for the people that I was playing with in duos and squads. Now, as time goes on and they add in a single-player story mode or a co-op story mode, and they add in zombies, then going in just by yourself is going to be more entertaining. But right now, with this single mode of just dropping in and surviving, it becomes the same after a while because you are doing just the same thing over and over and over again. And as of now, I would only recommend this if you have friends to play it with. Now, like I said, in the future, that will change, but we'll have to see when the game fully releases. I don't even think it has a full release date. And some miscommunication that I've seen about this game. At E3, they revealed that this was going to be a console exclusive for the Xbox One. What they forgot to mention was that it's only a timed exclusive. This game will eventually be coming to PlayStation 4, but they don't know an actual date on that yet. But that has been it for my review of PlayerUnkown's Battlegrounds. The next video should be a review of Dirt 4. I'm just having to go through and get gold on every single championship in the single player, so that's taking a little bit of time. And as always, remember, I'm Riding from Bluewood Gaming. I'll see you guys in the next one.